Last Tuesday, a 23-year-old college dropout in Austin made $47,000 in a single afternoon. Not from crypto. Not from dropshipping. Not from any of the usual suspects. He built something in about 6 hours using a method that most people still think is either science fiction or reserved for Stanford PhDs, and I know this because I spent the last month tracking down people like him, digging through their workflows, and honestly, what I found made me feel like I'd been wasting time. The strangest part isn't that this is happening. It's that almost nobody's talking about it publicly. The people making money this way have zero incentive to share what they're doing, because the moment everyone knows, the arbitrage disappears. But I managed to get a few of them to walk me through exactly how it works, and I want to be honest with you about something. This is going to sound almost too simple when I explain it. Welcome back to Zero Index. Let's get into why this particular moment in AI is creating a very specific kind of opportunity that won't last forever. So here's what's actually happening. We're in this weird transitional period where AI tools have gotten genuinely powerful, but most businesses and most people still haven't figured out how to use them. And that gap, that mismatch between what's possible and what's being done, that's where the money is right now. I talked to a woman named Rachel who runs a small agency out of her apartment in Denver. 8 months ago she was doing freelance copywriting, making maybe $4,000 a month if she hustled. Now she's clearing over $60,000 monthly, and she didn't hire anyone. She didn't learn to code. She built what she calls an AI arbitrage system. The way she explained it to me, businesses will pay serious money for outputs that AI can generate in minutes, because they don't know that AI can generate it in minutes. Or they don't know how to prompt it correctly. Or they simply don't have the time to figure it out. She's not lying to anyone. She's just solving problems faster than they expect, and charging based on value delivered, not hours worked. And here's the thing nobody talks about. The actual skill isn't using AI. That part's easy. The skill is identifying what specific outputs people will pay premium prices for, outputs that AI happens to be weirdly good at creating. Rachel found her niche in product descriptions for e-commerce stores. She can generate 100 optimized product listings in the time it used to take her to write 5. She charges the same rate she always did per listing. Do the math on that. So what does this actually look like in practice? I spent 3 weeks trying to reverse engineer the approach after talking to about a dozen people doing variations of this, and it breaks down into 3 pieces that have to work together. First, you need to find a task where the quality bar is clear and achievable. Product descriptions, sales emails, social media content, research summaries, data analysis reports. Things where good enough is actually good enough, and where clients can immediately tell if it works. Second, you need to build what I started calling a prompt stack. This isn't just one prompt. It's a sequence of prompts that refine the output, check for errors, and format everything correctly. One guy I talked to, Marcus, he built a prompt stack for generating investor update emails for startup founders. His system takes raw bullet points about what happened that month and turns them into polished, professional updates that look like they took hours to write. He charges $500 per email. The actual AI generation takes about 4 minutes. But here's the thing, he spent probably 60 hours building and refining that prompt stack. That's the real work. That's the moat. The third piece is delivery packaging. This sounds stupid, but it matters enormously. The people making real money aren't just sending raw AI outputs. They're presenting deliverables in custom templates, with their branding, with professional formatting, sometimes with a brief video walkthrough explaining the work. The psychology here is important. When something looks professional and considered, people value it more. Marcus sends his investor emails in a Notion doc with his logo, with suggested subject lines, with sending time recommendations based on email open rate data. The AI did 90% of the work, but the presentation signals expertise. Most people stop here, which is a mistake. Because understanding why this works now, in this specific moment, helps you see where it's going. We're in what economists would call an information asymmetry period. The capabilities of tools like GPT-4 and Claude have jumped dramatically in the last year. But the general public's understanding of those capabilities lags way behind. Most business owners still think of AI as either a toy or a distant threat. They don't realize it can do their specific task well, right now, today. This gap is temporary. Every week more people figure it out. Every month the arbitrage shrinks slightly. I talked to a guy who was making serious money generating SEO content last year. That market's already gotten way more competitive because too many people figured out the same thing. So what does this mean for you? If you're watching this and thinking about trying some version of this approach, the question isn't whether it works. The question is whether you can move fast enough to find a niche that isn't already crowded, and whether you can build a delivery system that creates actual value beyond what someone could get from ChatGPT directly. And here's where it gets interesting. Because not everyone I talked to was comfortable with what they're doing. A few of them expressed genuine ambiguity about whether this is sustainable, or even ethical. One person told me, and I'm paraphrasing here, that they feel like they're arbitraging a temporary moment of public ignorance. That eventually everyone will know how to do this, and the window will close, and they'll have to find something else. That's probably true. But here's how I think about it. Every economic shift creates these transition periods where the people who understand the new thing first can capture outsized value. When the internet happened, the early web developers made ridiculous money because nobody understood HTML yet. When social media happened, early influencers built audiences because the platforms were desperate for content. When crypto happened, well, you know how that went. The difference with AI is the speed. This transition is happening faster than any previous technology shift. The window is real, but it's narrower than people think. Most of the people I talk to expect the really easy arbitrage opportunities to be mostly gone within 18 months. Some say 12. The tactics that work today might not work next year. But the underlying skill, the ability to identify gaps between what AI can do and what people realize it can do, that skill transfers. That's what you're actually building. So if you wanted to try this, where would you actually begin? Based on what I learned, the most accessible entry point is probably service businesses that rely on written deliverables. Marketing agencies are paying freelancers for work that AI can do better and faster. Consulting firms are billing hundreds of dollars an hour for research that takes 10 minutes with the right prompt. E-commerce brands are hiring writers who are secretly just AI operators anyway. Pick a specific output type. Learn what makes a good version of that output. Build a prompt sequence that reliably produces it. Package it professionally. Find clients who need it. That's the whole thing. The woman in Denver, Rachel, she told me her total startup cost was about $40, the monthly subscription to Claude Pro and a Canva Pro account for formatting templates. She spent her first month just experimenting, figuring out what worked. Month 2 she landed 3 clients through cold outreach on LinkedIn. Month 3 she had to start turning people away. I'm not saying this is easy. Most people who try this will probably give up before they find a working system. But the people who do find one, who do put in the work to build real prompt stacks and professional delivery systems, they're operating in a genuinely different economy than everyone else right now. And the question nobody's asking is, why isn't everyone doing this already? The answer, I think, is that most people still don't believe it's real. They assume there must be a catch, or that it requires skills they don't have, or that the opportunity is already gone. And maybe that skepticism is healthy. But from what I've seen over the past month, the opportunity is very much still there. Just not for much longer. If this made you think differently about what's possible right now, subscribe to Zero Index. We're going to keep tracking where this goes next, because honestly, I don't think we've seen anything yet.